Good evening. Welcome to the Kent City Council meeting for August 16th, 2022. If you could all please stand and join me in the flag salute.
Okay, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's me. Saw myself on TV.
All right. Kim, could you please call the roll?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mayor Ralph.
Here.
Council President Boyce.
Here.
Councilmember Fincher.
Here.
Councilmember Kaur.
Here.
Councilmember Larmer.
Here.
Councilmember Michaud.
Here.
Councilmember Thomas.
Here.
Councilmember Troutner.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kim. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Are there any changes from council members or staff? All right, seeing none, a motion would be in order to approve the agenda as published.
So move. Second.
A motion, a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. That moves us right into public communications. We don't have any Employee of the Month recognition or anything like that, but Council Member Troutner, it's my understanding you have some public recognition.
I do. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I know this is not Kent, but I think it's pretty amazing, and I want to congratulate the Bonnie Lake Sumner Little League 12U All-Stars because they are playing in the Little League World Series.
All right.
My cousin's son is on the team. His name is Liam. He's number 19. And at the game last week, he won, at the bottom of the sixth inning, he hit the home run that tied the game. So they actually won the Northwest Regional Championship. And again, that puts them into the World League, the Little League World Series. So they play tomorrow against Hawaii at 4 p.m. So I want to congratulate and say best of luck to the Bonnie Lake Sumner 12U All-Star Little League team and to Liam. So go team. Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah, good job.
All right. Any other public recognition? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to community events. Council President Boyce.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We got a couple of things going on here. Let's see. Showwear, the 3-on-3 basketball tournament starts on Saturday, August the 20th. We also have an all-four show Mustang Roundup starting on Sunday, August the 21st. We also have an Exley doubleheader playoff on Saturday, August the 27th. Seattle Thunder versus Chicago Blitz, and the Austin Sound versus Atlanta Empire. We also have a Christmas show on September 29th. Seattle Thunderbird open their season October 1st, home opener. Then we have a couple of concerts coming. Jubilee live concert October 9th. Lamb of God Omen tour on Monday, October 10th. That's what's going on at the Showwear Center.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Fincher.
Cajun Fest is happening in downtown Kent on the 20th. That's this Saturday, 3 to 8 p.m. So you'd come celebrate all things Cajun. So there'll be Zydeco music, good food, all sorts of things going on right here in downtown Kent.
All right. And Councilmember Michaud.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is hot off the presses. September 8th from 11 to 2 is the Senior Center Annual Food Truck Frenzy. This is a lot of fun. Seniors go to the Senior Center parking lot. They have tickets so they can go to each food truck and get a variety of different foods, and it's a lot of fun.
Did she say Sundays?
The 8th.
Food? I mean,
Food truck.
September 8th.
Yeah.
September 8th.
Yeah, food.
Councilmember Thomas may be adding that to his calendar.
right down.
Also to note, the last of the citywide summer concert series is tomorrow night at Kent Station. I believe it's the Jewel Tones that will be performing. So if you get a chance to get down and check that out, we wrapped up our Lake Meridian and our kids concerts last week with a very successful series, great attendance, and want to say thank you specifically to Rhonda and Colleen from our Parks Department for putting all of those great shows on. So check it out tomorrow night if you get a chance at Kent Station, that very last concert of the summer. All right, moving on in the agenda, we have our public safety report, and joining us is Chief Padilla. He was deep in thought back there, and I think that we got there faster than
That was really, really fast. So will this report be. So, good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the council. It's good to bring you the report. Tonight we have all good news. We're doing swearing in. So tonight's another manifestation of our ongoing effort and focus to hire the best and brightest into our ranks as police officers and in the department as general. So at this point, I would like to call up Officer Jonathan Silas, Officer Ryan Armstrong, Officer Jason Stoddler, and Officer Tristan Thomas. Come on up front here, gentlemen. Face the camera that way. Other way. Yeah. No.
Oh, man. He did say the best and brightest.
Okay, we got it. All right, so tonight we have one veteran lateral officer to swear in tonight, and then we have 3 entry levels. As you remember, veteran officers come to us from multiple places, and today we have an officer that joined us from California, and I'll introduce each of our officers, give you a little bit about them, and then have them introduce their families. So first up, we have Jonathan Silas. He's up on the top left of your screen for those of us who are watching at home. He is born and raised in Auburn, Washington, but in 2014, he and his wife moved to the Bay Area while she attended graduate school and finished her degree. They remained in California for 8 years and then recently returned home to be closer to the family and the birth of their daughter. He graduated from Thomas Jefferson High School and then attended the University of Washington, where he earned his Bachelor of Science in Environmental Sciences. Go Dogs. Before Kent PD, John most recently worked at the City of Santa Cruz Police Department for 7 years there. He started his career as a park ranger with the city and then transitioned to police officer. When we asked him why Kent PD, John chose us because having worked in law enforcement previously, he had the opportunity to see and experience various communities and their departments, and he was paying attention to the relationships the departments had with the communities they served. That was something that was important to him. He said, and I'm paraphrasing here, walking into the department itself, experiencing the atmosphere, talking to the officers, support staff, and others of the city government, it became immediately clear the members of this department treat each other like family. It was also clear that you are appreciated, treated with respect, and given the tools and support you need to succeed. Whether you're new to law enforcement or on the cusp of retirement, you could see the appreciation everyone has for one another and the commitment to improve. And he said it was also apparent that the city supports its police department and holds it to a higher standard. Something interesting about John is he describes himself as handy and taught himself a lot of various home improvement skills and has completed a home remodel on the house they sold in California before moving up here, and is about halfway through the remodel on the house they bought here in Washington. Wow. Quote, I can also build or put together any artsy or utilitarian project my wife throws at me. There you go, honeydews. Ladies and gentlemen, Officer Jonathan Silas. John, did you have family, I think, that you wanted to introduce? I maybe we could hear.
My daughter, Ruth. My parents are here, John and Joanne, as well as my in-laws, the other half of my family, Luis, Marcella, and my grandmother, Tonya. And then very clear family friends. This is basically our family. Casey and Liberty is here as well.
So, for those who can't see, the first 2 rows of the chamber.
Of course, can't forget my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law as well, JC and Steve.
Oh, okay. First 2.
We kept adding them on as we were going. So.
Excellent. Well, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Next up, right next there, Ryan Armstrong. Ryan's what I call a legacy hire, but it's kind of like being a City of Kent Police Department employee is like the Armstrong family thing. So he is one of 4 current Armstrong family members in our department. His father, Mike Armstrong, and his uncle, Rick Armstrong, work at our jail. They're sergeants there. And his wife, Tabitha, who recently gave birth to their daughter, Hannah, is in our records unit. So Ryan is making the move from corrections, where he's worked for the last 2.5 years, and is now coming over to be a sworn law enforcement officer. Ryan is originally born in North Carolina and was raised in Washington for most of his life. He graduated from Fife High School, and before working at Kent, he was, like I said, 2.5 years at our jail as a corrections officer, and prior to that, he worked in auto parts stores and managed one that was in Mississippi. He also was a volunteer firefighter, so there's that. Why Kent? He chose Kent, pardon me, because that's what his family does. No, just I made that part up. He said for the last 3 years he's working here with the people that are here and the camaraderie and the family-oriented environment. This was something where he knew he wanted to continue his career. He has loved the last 3 years with Kent and has always been there. Kent has always been there for him and his wife. Kent is about family first all the time, and you don't ever have to worry about not getting time off, is what it says here. Ryan really enjoys hunting, and I think he meant for his family, not just in general. Ryan really enjoys hunting season, spending time with his father and brother and friends as they go and they do duck hunting and duck blinds and goose blinds, is what it says here. Something interesting, besides the fact that half his family works for the department, he and his wife live on a farm. They have dogs, cats, goats, sheep, cows, quails. I didn't know people kept quails, but okay. Quails and chickens. Recently, they welcomed their first child, Hannah, into the world, who happened to time it just right and came into the world just a week before Ryan graduated from the police academy. There was a time where we thought that might all happen on the same day, but fortunately that worked out. Ladies and gentlemen, Officer Ryan Armstrong. Ryan, family you'd like to introduce?
My dad's back there, Michael Armstrong, and his wife, my stepmom, and her daughter. My wife and my daughter couldn't make it tonight, but just the family I have here today.
All right, well, welcome. Thank you, Howard. All right. Next up, we have Officer Jason Stoddler. I refer to Jason as a unicorn hire because he is a former firefighter and who changed careers to become a police officer, and that just warms my heart and makes me kind of giggle. So there you go. Where he's from, Jason's originally from La Mesa, California, but spent most of his life here in Washington. He currently lives in Maple Valley with his wife, daughter, and their dog. Jason has an associate's degree in fire science from Bellevue College. Before coming to Kent, he spent the last 16 years working in the fire service, initially as a firefighter, then promoting to the rank of lieutenant. So accomplished in that career as well. He was assigned several positions, including hazardous material response team, wildland team, sorry, I can't speak tonight, technical rescue team, and an instructor for various disciplines. Jason also had the opportunity to serve his peers as a union shift rep for 6 years. When we asked him about why Kent, he said that prior to applying with us, he contacted our recruiter division and asked 3 questions that he felt were very important when gauging the overall health and working environment of our agency. So this is a seasoned first responder doing his homework. So because I thought this was pretty well done. His first question was, how is the relationship between the community and the police department? The second question was, how is the relationship between the elected officials and the KPD leadership? And the last question was how the relationship was between us, KPD leadership, and the officers. He noted that the response he received was very encouraging, so he applied. And as he navigated through the selection process, Jason was always impressed with the welcoming nature and professionalism of everyone he came in contact here. Jason knew early on that he wanted to be a part of KPD, so much that he even held out on a previous job offer with another agency. So that was good. And it's quoted here saying, best decision ever. Something interesting about Jason is he likes to spend time refurbishing pinball machines. I thought that was cool. The complexity of the work that goes into creating a machine as well as the gameplay has always been fascinating to him. So ladies and gentlemen, Officer Jason Stoddler. Jason, family?
I do. My wife, Rachel, and my daughter, Tegan, right there in the back.
Good to see you. Welcome. Thanks for coming. Alrighty. And last but certainly not least, we have Officer Tristan Thomas. Tristan is from Woodland, Washington. He has his bachelor's degree in sociology from Pacific Lutheran University, where he went on an academic scholarship and played defensive end for the mighty PLU football team. Go Lutes. I actually got to meet Tristan before I even knew he was applying here. He and my son play on the same team for a year there, so that was very good to see him. He also worked prior to coming to Kent as a retail loss prevention officer, so kind of doing a little bit of work of contacting and arresting people for crime, so he had that under his belt. When we asked him why Kent, he said he chose Kent because of the officers he met during his hiring process. They took the time to get to know him and made him feel welcome around the department. Something interesting about Tristan is that he enjoys hiking, and he and his wife and father-in-law all summited Mount St. Helens a couple of summers ago. And Tristan, if memory serves right, you got married pretty recently, right? About 2 weeks ago. There you go. I knew it was recent, very recent. Well, congratulations, ladies and gentlemen, Officer Tristan Thomas. And Tristan, who do you have with you tonight?
My beautiful wife, Kayla, and my father-in-law, Benjamin, in the back.
All right, well, welcome. Thank you for coming out tonight. And Madam Mayor, if you could do the honors, please.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. We will make this official. I state your name.
I, Tristan Thomas,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the United States of America,
to the United States of America,
the state of Washington,
the state of Washington,
and the city of Kent.
and the city of Kent.
That I will uphold the Constitution and the laws
That I will uphold the Constitution and the laws
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of Washington,
and the state of Washington,
and that I will obey the rules and regulations
and that I will obey the rules and regulations
of the Kent Police Department.
of the Kent Police Department.
Congratulations. Alright, we are going to do the very last test. Then we're going to sign these, and then you have to find yours and sign them. And they're in no particular order, unlike the lineup there. So. And then we will have to do pictures.
Congratulations, good job, bud. Thank you.
You almost got it.
Good job, bud. Congratulations.
Congratulations, welcome.
He's from Jacksonville.
Oh, okay. Long way from here.
Dana tried to hire him for a project. Messing with sweaty hands.
All right, Madam Mayor, that is my report for this month, unless there are any questions.
All right. Any questions for the chief? Councilmember Court.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Chief. Just a quick question. Are we still doing that community immersion program?
We absolutely are. We are beyond the limits of the grant funding, but we made a decision to go ahead and using the existing funding to keep the program going through the end of the year. there might also be a budget request for more funding after that. So it's going very well. Again, our major challenge is to find more stakeholder organizations, but I believe we're close to 12 graduates now through the program. It's growing quickly.
Yeah, we are continuing to work with Representative Orwell, and there will also be a budget request going in that direction. So, any other questions for the chief?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Do want to just really commend our recruiters. We've had the opportunity to swear in multiple new officers over the last couple of weeks, and it is really encouraging for what that means for the safety of our community. So. All right, we are going to move on to reports. This is an opportunity for everyone up here at the dais to report out on the work that they're doing outside of normal committee meetings and council meetings. So I think everybody represents the city on a regional committee, making sure that this voice of our residents are being heard. I have two quick reports today. We had what I think will be the final meeting of the King County Flood Control Advisory Committee today. So the advisory committee gathers all of the information for budgets and projects from coming out of the flood control districts and makes a recommendation to the King County Council, also known as the Board of Supervisors. It's a little bit confusing. King County Council, they wear separate hats, but they are the ones that also direct the usage of those flood control dollars. Kent has been a significant beneficiary of those flood control dollars over the years, so we definitely participate in those conversations, and I am pleased to say that the proposed budget does continue to include projects on the Green River here in the city of Kent. The other less official, more fun note, on Sunday, I had the opportunity to attend the 1-year anniversary or birthday party of Miss Boba. It's a boba tea place down here off of Washington in the parking lot where Safeway is. I don't know. I think I am way far behind. I did not realize how delicious boba tea was, but I had a brown sugar boba, and that's the specialty there. Fabulous family running that establishment, and I encourage you, if you're in the mood for boba or don't even know if you like it, go check it out. There was a line around the building for them opening. They had dragon dancers out, and it was quite a celebration. So want to say congratulations on making it through the hardest year and doing it during COVID. So very fun event. With that, I am going to turn to my right and call on Pat Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First, I want to thank the council for being flexible with tonight's meetings. We had quite a long Operations and Public Safety Committee meeting, but some important subjects, and I really appreciate allowing to go quite over schedule on that. And thank you for the flexibility with the workshop topics. We'll bring the workshop topic that we missed to a future meeting. Real quick, budget conversations continue. The mayor and I have a meeting with finance tomorrow. And the rest of my report is in the agenda. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Council President.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. For Operation Public Safety, we had a great meeting. Firstly, we looked at the consolidation of the budget from April 1st to June 30th. We also did some allocation around the Opera Flats Fund as well as the Opera grants. We also looked at approved 3 ordinance. The first was around the restriction to sale of aerosol paint to 18 and under. Also, the solicitation of occupant vehicle, meaning that you can't have people running across the street trying to collect money across the yellow line while cars are at a stoplight or moving. And then other was around the ordinance prohibiting the unlawful use of dangerous drug in public place, meaning that the purpose around that really is to get the people, help them, put them in the system, and get them help. And that's what we are trying to do. So that was for Operation and Public Safety. We'd also had a workshop with the water system update, and I'll just keep it short. The water we're drinking in Kent is the best water you can drink, okay? And I would say the team is doing an awesome job of making sure that the maintenance is done, so our water continue to be the best tasting water. So kudos to the public safety team for making sure we got drinking safe water, which is important. We also, the last one around the King County Solid Waste Division, at the end of the day, they want to try to recycle everything. That's the main goal with that. So they got a project they've been working on around curbside collection, and also King County. Matter of fact, King County is leading the country, I guess, in curbside collection and also recycling and yards waste collection. So they're doing a really good job with that. The last thing I'm going to talk about is for my council members. As we get ready for the budget workshop, we're looking at Wednesday, October 5th, as an all-day session to go through some of the budget workshop. So please look at your calendar. I will have Kathy send an email out tomorrow, and then you can validate if that is a good day for you. I would deeply appreciate it while you're looking at me like that, Councilmember Core. All right, that's the date we threw out there. If that doesn't work, then we'll work around that to try to make sure. So October 5th is what we're looking at for a workshop. Yes, say something.
Yeah, I thought I saw something.
Well, originally we was looking at Saturday, but we're not going to do Saturday.
Well, thank you for the information.
Okay, so October 5th. Please let Kathy know. She'll get an email out tomorrow. If that's not a good date, then we'll find another date. Okay? Madam Mayor, that's all I have. I'm going to start here to my left here to Councilmember Michelle.
Thank you, Council President. I serve on the Regional Law, Safety, and Justice Committee. And at our last meeting, we had a panel discussion on a regional approach to the mental health crisis. A group of state and King County leaders went to Maricopa County in Arizona to visit their system, and so we heard their insights and thoughts about that. And then also I gave a brief update about our community immersion program for our police department, and it was really well received, and a lot of other cities want to implement a similar system and are very interested in it. And the deputy sheriff for King County said that our chief is always at the forefront of these types of things and innovative. So that was encouraging, and I know the Seattle Police Department is doing a similar thing too. So that's good.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Michelle. Councilmember Core.
Thank you, Council President. I serve on Growth Management Planning Council. We had our meeting on July 27th, and the biggest item we had was approving City of Sammamish, their growth targets. And just for an update, they went from 700 units to 2,100 housing units being built from 2019 to 2044, which is a great improvement, and 305 jobs to 728 jobs. So that was the big item on our agenda. I also sit on K4C, and we reviewed our agenda for the work session that's coming up on October 13 from 3 to 4:30 p.m., and that's open to all elected, so I would encourage you all to sign up. We also talked about how to share our progress and work with community and other jurisdictions, and to how to encourage them to be part of K4C. And we also discussed funding and how to build capacity at local government level on how to get the work done, making impact in climate area. And that ends my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Core. Councilmember Larmer.
Thank you. I sit on the King County Affordable Housing Committee and Aging and Disabilities Advisory Council, and I do not have an update.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Troutner.
Thank you, Council President. I am chair of the Economic and Community Development Committee. We did not meet this month. I am also vice chair of the Regional Transit Committee, and we will meet next month. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Troutner. Councilmember Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. President. I serve on the Puget Sound Regional Fire Authority, along with Council President Boyce and Councilmember Troutner. I really have no report this evening, but I will tell you that we do meet tomorrow night, 5:30, Station 78 out in Covington.
Thank you, Councilmember Thomas. Councilmember Fincher.
Thank you, Council President. I'll start with mental illness and drug dependency advisory committee. With our meeting, we had some talk about the previous workshops that we've done, the two-part workshop that we've done on mental health and as that relates to race and equity. We also went over our annual report and our budget. So one thing that was a standout is that in looking at how we do things, we changed one of the programs. So we had some mini grants, and the mini grants were up to $10,000. And so we've changed that because we found that it was hard for agencies to be able to actually get a program up and running with that $10,000 in the year time that it was given. And so, especially since we were expecting these to be new and innovative programs. And so what's happened is we've expanded that amount and the time period to 2 years so that we can really get the meat of what the work was supposed to do. We can get that done. So that will especially help some of the smaller agencies that were coming in and getting and doing the same work or trying to do the same work. We also looked at some of the emerging needs that are coming up. And again, as always, how are we going to measure the success of the programs? King Conservation District, KCD, we had our annual presentation to the King County Council. In the process of picking a new CAO, the food system grants are open and underway. And check out the website, kingcd.org. because there's a forestry tour and lots of good programs coming up with that. With our Arts Commission here in Kent, we had Chris Jordan, who is a local artist from the Tacoma area. He's one of 8 artists who is working on the Federal Way leak extension. So both our garages, he came and talked about his work, and so it was pretty interesting. If you can imagine so it's going to be a metal art piece. It's going to be colorful. It's going to be vibrant. It's going to show movement. It's going to intertwine, think of ethnicity and race, along with patterns, along with migration, along with making people feel at home. All of that is going to be comprised in this art project. So I'm very anxious to see it. So that was one of the big things. I would say the other big thing for our meeting was that the Spotlight Series starts October 13th. The first program is going to be Catapult. All of the programs will be at Kent Meridian this year, and it will wrap up in, I believe, March 13th. So go online, get your tickets, and be prepared for some great entertainment. The last one is Public Works. With Public Works, we talked about the annual utility rate adjustment. That is tied to the CPI, and so we are talking about it, working with communications. We want to make sure that it's not going to be a shock to anyone because it is tied to the CPI. With the large increase that we saw this year, that also means that increase will probably be a little more than what you're used to seeing. So we're trying to get the word out and at the same time reminding, especially seniors, that there are special programs so that they can have discounted rates on their utilities. So be sure to check those out. The last thing is that we're going to have some new flashing beacons and some new crosswalks, one by the Panther Lake Library, and then by some of our schools. Thanks to a lot of the grants, Public Works has been wonderful at applying for and receiving some grants. And so our bicyclers will be happy, our pedestrians will be safer, and Kent will continue to be a great place to live. That is it.
With the flashlight, that's going to be at the intersection Panther Lake and 104?
Yes, near the library. So about the end of where that fence is, that's by the apartments. There's those 2 apartment complexes there too. Okay. So yeah, it'll help with the, help make crossing safer there. And then there's going to be flashing beacons at, I forgot how many, but it was a number of schools, like 6 or 7 schools, I believe. So.
Okay, good. About time. That's great. Awesome. Thank you, Councilmember Fincher. Madam Mayor, that ends our report.
All right. Thank you, Council President. Next item on the agenda is an ordinance for alleyway vacation in the Bridges Avenue, Railroad Avenue neighborhood. So this is a public hearing. Staff will give a presentation, and then I'll invite the public up to provide testimony, written statements, or other evidence. Public input must relate to the subject of the public hearing, and council members may ask questions during the hearing. If you're here to testify on this matter, there is a sign-in sheet up here at the front, and you can also provide written statements or evidence. And like I said, if you want to provide testimony on this particular item, you can sign in with the clerk. The public hearing on the ordinance for Alleyway vacation in Bridges Avenue and Railroad Avenue neighborhood is now open. And I see Chad Beeren, our Public Works Director, is already up here ready to make the presentation. Chad, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. This is an item that I brought back in July. Council passed an ordinance or resolution setting the public hearing for tonight to talk about alleyway vacation in the Bridges and Railroad Avenue neighborhood. If you remember, when we were talking about earlier, this is right near the corner of Central Avenue and Willis. Central's on the right side of this photo, and Willis is right at the top. With the 7-Eleven that's at the corner there is right at the top of this purple polygon. There are 11 lots that are affected by the vacation or would be affected by the vacation. And we've been working with the neighborhood, Public Works staff have been working with the neighborhood to get some concurrence on vacating the alley. We do not have full concurrence of the neighborhood, but the majority of the neighbors out there are in agreement that they would like to see the alley vacated. And again, this would return full ownership of the alley with an easement reserved for access for utilities. But the overall ownership of the underlying ownership would go back to the each abutting property owner, which would be in the middle of the alleyway. So currently, you have the property line goes right up the middle of the alleyway with the alley itself as public right-of-way. So there's no way to keep people out of there. They have a right to walk through there and move through. And as we talked about in the past, there have been a number of issues with crime, particularly in this neighborhood, related to folks moving through the alley. So this is just a way to help take the control of the neighborhood back and give it to the neighbors. And close off the alleyway. Again, there would be access between properties through a gate so the neighbors could get back and forth into their properties. But again, the general public wouldn't be able to just travel through there at their leisure.
Okay.
Any questions for Chad? Councilmember Michaud.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Chad, how many property owners are there here?
Yeah, there actually are 11 lots, and some of those lots you can see on here, we have buildings that are on multiple lots, but technically 11 lots.
Okay, so how many people are saying no, they don't want this, and why?
And so we worked closely with the neighborhood. The neighbors collected signatures. My understanding is there were one or two property owners that one was hard to get a hold of, if not impossible to get a hold of, and the other property owner was concerned about access. So again, if we have issues, long-term issues with the access, the city has easement rights for access to the utilities, and we'll, if we need to, exercise our easement rights to keep the access open for the other properties.
So the property owners would put up a gate, and then, or the city's putting up a gate, and some...
Actually, the property owners would put up the gate.
Yeah, okay, and then they would ensure that everyone has a key.
Yes, or code,
right,
depending on how they want to put it together.
Okay.
Councilmember Thomas.
Well, it kind of applies to this, but tonight I drove by there in the 7-Eleven. All the tanks, gasoline tanks, have been pulled out, and it's just one massive hole right now. So
they are remodeling.
Yeah,
the tanks.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? All right, I would like to invite the public to provide testimony, written statements, or other evidence. If you could please limit your comments to 3 minutes. There will be a timer up on the screen. Kim, has anyone signed up to testify on this for this public hearing?
Yes, I have 2 people signed up. Kim Nelson is first, and Chris Koza is second.
So if you can come up and state your name and city of residence for the record, and thanks for being here tonight.
Hello again, I'm Kim Nelson. We are at the property of 517 and 519 Central Avenue South. 7-Eleven is here, we're right here, right next to it. On a constant basis, we were having Oh, before I get further, I think there's only 7 properties that are in the alley. But everybody has a entrance access on another street. So Russell, be it the other street, I'm not sure which they are, but everybody has an interest to get to wherever. Our opposing guys here at 529, their address is on Central Avenue. Their entrance is on Central Avenue South. The problem with the alley is not only do we have all the drug activity and the people, but we have slumlords who create slum tenants. And so constantly we have a drug house in the middle of this alley. And it's not just, so everybody would have access with a key, but then it goes like here. You get the key to the tenants. The tenants give it to all the drug heads. And then what's the purpose? Here we are, back to square one. So there's no real purpose. I mean, I get it, there's gonna be the right of way for the city and everybody else, understandable. But it's constant. It's constant. Right now, the house is burnt down, there's trash. It's just not being kept up. There's trash right now. I can show you pictures. Constant graffiti on the walls. I know how to do drugs again. We talked about this last month or whatever it was, because they're there. I had an AK pulled out of me a month and a half ago after I left you guys, because I asked the guy to leave. He had a hand-built gun. Pulled it on me. Told me to screw up. Okay, so, whatever, here I am. But this is a constant thing. He pulled knives on me. It's just an ongoing thing. It's nonstop. So it's, we have different residents. Everybody is in agreement except for one person. And I started this thing, and here I am. So at the end of the day, we would like the alley vacated because we have another guy here we're business owners. We constantly are fighting with these people. We shouldn't be having a fight with them. This is like an extra job for us. It doesn't make any sense. So everybody's in agreement except for one person. Did you guys like to see my pictures?
If you want to submit them for the record, we'd be happy to put them in as a part of the public hearing.
Okay. I didn't print them up or anything like that.
You can email them to the clerk.
I could do that.
Okay. We'll make sure to get that information to you before you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Chris Koza, followed by Amita Singh.
Hello, I'm Chris Koza. I own CJ Marine on the picture up there. We're the alley's on the backside of my building. I've got cameras up there. People are pissing, shitting. There was the cops that pulled somebody over the other day for accused rape. My building is probably the brightest and whitest building you'll see in Kent, for the simple fact I paint it about every 2 weeks. They graffiti it, they tag it, I paint it. They kind of go away a little bit, but it's annoying. There's a lot of drug activity and everything going on, police activity. It's an annoyance. There's no reason for the alley to be there, to be honest. I understand the access. As far as I don't know if I'm right to say this, but as far as the slumlord comment, I disagree with that. There's issues. The house did burn down. We've got it on video. It was actually set on fire by an individual. Since then, he has cleaned it up, but the problem is the alley's the access, and all the drug addicts and people around the neighborhood congregate there and leave their garbage. So on behalf, we pick up garbage every day in the alley in front of my business on both sides. It's all from the drug use and everything else of the free reign that's down there. Right now, since 7-Eleven has had their tanks ripped out, they've got the alley blocked off. And I live there every day. I own the shop. I'm there minimum 5 to 6 days a week. The traffic has slowed way down. Just those temporary fences have made an impact already. We've had a few homeless people or whatever they are kind of set a medium camp in the alley, but they get shooed away. It's already gotten better just with the temporary fencing. We need this. And we need access for all the owners. All the owners need to have a key and 100% access to it along with the city for safety reasons. So please let us build our fence. That's all I ask. I just want it to be better.
Thank you.
All right? Thank you.
The last speaker is Amita Singh.
Thank you so much for hearing my commentary today and our commentary. We are the slumlords, apparently. We do have a property on Central that's abutting the alleyway. It was burnt down by a former tenant. She was residing there. She somehow burnt it down. And since then, we've had numerous break-ins. We actually couldn't enter the property with the insurance adjuster because before it was cold, it was actually still hot when homeless people got into it. So it took hundreds of phone calls to the city of Kent, and thankfully Victoria Robin was helpful in the attorney's office to get help, to get people out of there. It's been since broken in, and the garage has been broken into 8-9 times, and this happened in March. This is just the amount of time it's taken for insurance to do their job, so we can then go in and do our job and rebuild. I've taken numerous losses on this. There's been dumping from everywhere coming right there. We've cleaned it up a number of times. I've worked with code enforcement, I've worked with the city, I've worked with officers to handle this and get it done and clean it up and get that place better. But unfortunately, it's a weekly thing. Sometimes it's a bi-weekly thing. Sometimes it's twice a week that we have to go there. We try to keep it as clean as possible, but the dumping has gotten just out of hand. The homeless people have just gotten out of hand in that area. The people breaking in, and sometimes just for shelter, not necessarily to steal, because there's nothing to steal. It's all burnt up. It's been one calamity after the other in that alleyway. We were the ones who were kind of waiting to see if we would be able to get access, because we are right in the middle of the alleyway. So if the ordinance did not state that we would have access on either end, then we would have to get a number of easements, and that would be on us. So I'm glad the ordinance does say that, though. We've read it, it looks good, and we're ready to sign off on it. But if it's going to happen or not is the question. Thank you.
Thank you. Kim, do we have any additional speakers?
I don't have anybody else signed up to speak.
All right. I do know that we do have some written comments that need to be entered into the record. Is there a motion to submit the comments from Mr. Don Johnson into the record?
So moved, Madam Mayor.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Council, do you have any questions for anyone that testified or provided written statements? Okay. With that, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. The public hearing is now closed. Council, any discussion or debate on this item? All right, seeing none, then a motion would be in order.
Madam Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance number 4438, vacating a portion of right-of-way between Bridges Avenue South to the west and Central Avenue South to the east, and East Willis Street to the north and East Russell Street to the south, and reserving an easement.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. The vacation has gone through. I want to say thank you to the council. This action that you just took for this alleyway, along with the previous alley vacations that you have done, in addition to the work that you did at Operations and Public Safety Committee today. They are all very tangible steps towards helping our community be a safer place. The graffiti, the spray paint ordinance, the use of drugs in public, all of those things, the solicitation, it's a public safety issue. Those are all tangible steps that as a city, we have been able to take to help our community be a safer place. And I am grateful for your action. So thank you all very, very much. And thank you to the neighbors for working through this process. I really do believe it's going to make a difference. Along with the work of our police department, I was out with officers last week and spent several calls in the neighborhood and understand what you all are going through. No, we want you to continue to call. We want to address the issues. So I know.
I am on the other line where they have better things to do. It's just, but
My ask is that everyone continue to call 911. We will continue to respond. We swore in 4 new officers tonight. It does take time to get them through the process, but we are headed in the right direction. I will tell you, for the first time in a very long time, I am feeling optimistic about what safety looks like in the city of Kent, and the actions, like I said, the actions of the council, the persistence of the neighbors, and the work in our police department are all making those things possible. So. Thank you.
thank you, and as a business owner, we appreciate it a lot. We really do.
Thank you all. All right, we are going to move on to the next item on our agenda. That is public comment. Public comment's the opportunity for anyone to come up and speak to the council or the mayor on issues that pertain to city business or anything that is on the agenda this evening. Do want to remind everyone that Washington state law prohibits the use of public comment from supporting or opposing ballot measures or candidates for office. We do have a 3-minute time limit, and when you come up, if you can please state your name and city of residence for the record. Kim, can you please call our speakers?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have 2 speakers, Van Hurst and Elijah Wiggins.
My name is Van Hurst. I live in the city of Kent, Washington. Good evening, Mayor and council members and staff. I, on July 24th and 25th, had the honor of flying to Arlington, Texas to announce the rebirth of a major national football league, not the NFL, but one called the XFL. As part of the rebirth, they recognized the city of Arlington, Texas, which is the 50th largest city in the U.S., as the home of the Renegades. They did not attach themselves to Dallas, the 9th largest city in the U.S. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, a movie star and entertainment mogul, personally made that decision. Yesterday, the Seattle Thunderbirds put out a hype video proclaiming their brand new Daktronics screens inside ShoWare Center. They flashed Seattle, 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 Seattle multiple times. I asked the city clerk to forward a link to that video to all of you to see. That board was part of a budget presentation within the last 6 months by the finance department to this council, who approved a budget adjustment. The Seattle Thunderbirds did not pay for it, as they are claiming in this hype video. There's not the word Kent, thank you Kent, nothing in there. At what point in time does this council and mayor take action to quit subsidizing this business? They have so alienated themselves in the sports world that the Seattle Kraken, the new NHL team, has named their subsidiary team the Firebirds. They announced also yesterday that they're bringing the Firebirds to Seattle to play minor league hockey. So why are we using the Thunderbirds to spend money? They need to understand that they owe the citizens of Kent, and they need to rebrand to the city of Kent. The Major League Baseball Cleveland Guardians rebranded. Talk about an iconic team. You can't go back and say, well, we're a 25-year brand with the Seattle Thunderbirds. The Washington Commanders with the NFL, they rebranded recently. Again, over 100-year tradition in a major sports league. So when are we going to quit subsidizing the Thunderbirds until they become the Kent Thunderbirds? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Elijah Wiggins.
Hi, sorry. I'm Elijah Wiggins. I live in Kent, Washington, and I came here just to bring to light a situation that's been happening on Kent Avenue South and South 220 Central, Central Avenue South and South 226th Street, 266th Street.
Moms.
Yeah. I'm a frequent bus rider, and I have to constantly jaywalk on that street just to get to the bus stop on the other side of the street. And Central is a very busy street, and every single time it's always a gamble. I have to wait for that perfect opportunity. And I just feel like there is a need for a stoplight there, like a four-way stoplight, because not only it would make it easier for pedestrians to get from side to side, because the residential is on one side and the industrial-ish company side is on the other side of the street. But it also make it safer for a lot of drivers, because I'm also a new driver as well. And coming off of 222nd or 266th Street, trying to get onto Central is absolutely nerve-wracking, because you're having to come into really fast-paced traffic, and it's really just not safe. There's a lot of car accidents, and also I feel like it would bring the racing on that street down a lot, because it is kind of the perfect straight stoplight to stoplight that drag racers look for, because every night I just hear vroom, and I just feel like a stoplight there, I understand that it would be difficult just to shut down Central for that a small period of time, but I feel like it would bring a lot of safety to pedestrians and drivers both. So that's everything. Thank you.
Elijah, thank you for coming down. I'm going to direct you right there in the back to Chad, our Public Works Director. I would love for the two of you to have a conversation about needs and what we do, what we look at, and all of those kinds of things. I will tell you that I am pretty sure that that's the exact location that a family member of mine was in an accident, and a family member of yours was a witness to that accident. So it does happen. But I would love it for you to have a conversation with Chad and kind of see where we go from here.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for coming down. Councilmember Michaud.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'm just wondering, can someone give me a landmark? Where is this?
Coming out of, it used to be Mom's Cafe on the other side of the street. So
It's Circle Chinese.
The Chinese, yep.
And Cowgirls Latte. And then
Just before you get into, go over to the bridge to go into Auburn. It's on this side of it, heading into the industrial area. On this side, there's some condos and apartments in the back, and then, yeah. Okay. All right.
Christophus Plaza.
That's the name of the plaza that I was looking for, so. All right, Kim, do we have any other speakers tonight?
No.
Okay. With that, we will move on to consent calendar. The consent calendar is a compilation of items that the City Council has reviewed, had presentations and asked questions about over the last several weeks at their committee meetings. They are items that have moved out of committee without any sort of controversy. We have items A through D this evening. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar, item A through D.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Item 9 is other business. We do not have any this evening. 10 is bids. There are no bids. 11, no executive session. And with that, just short of 8 o'clock, council, we are adjourned.
Hey,